So that was interesting. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't sure if I really liked this Love is Blind After the Altar because I think it was too outdated. It was too outdated, but let's just get into the episode because yeah, guys, comment down below if you have enjoyed Love is Blind After the Altar this season. But let's just get into this review and recap of this episode, guys. But of course, subscribe if you haven't yet. Yeah. Okay, so basically the episode starts off where we left off. With Cole and Zanab talking. They go into on this little nice couch and they talk about what happened at the altar. And Cole just goes on to say, like, I was very confused because I thought after you said no that we would date after the show. And she's like, oh, why? You really thought that? He's like, well, that's what you said. And that's where I'm just like, okay, why would you tell him, hey, if either one of us says no at the altar, we'll still date. And then you get on the altar and rip him a new one and embarrass him in front of his friends and family. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. That was cold, Zanab. That was cold. But to be honest, I still don't understand her reasoning. She still stood by her whole saying about being like, well, did you not hear the positive things I said? I still think you were a good person. You were just horrible to me. And I'm like, how does that make sense? And I'm with Cole in that. I just don't understand that at all. But it is what it is. And at the end of this conversation, this had to have been pre-reunion. Like it must have been pre-reunion. They were very much of like, all right, well, I don't want to fight. Like, I just wanted to talk to you about what happened and just kind of like settle it and just, be civil with you. And she was like, okay, great. And then they just got up and walked away. And that was the end of the conversation. And honestly, I would have rather enjoyed seeing them have a conversation after the cuties incident. Like, I would rather have them talk about what happened at the reunion. Like, that would be more interesting than what we watched, because what we watched was very much predated. It was like, it didn't mean anything anymore because we had already seen the reunion. So, like, their conversation was kind of like, I felt like it was just blah. Like, I didn't really care because I wanted to get more. I wanted to understand, like, hey, we saw the cuties clip. What was it that I said in that moment that made you feel that I was fat shaming you? I don't know. There needed to be more. And I feel like Netflix did not deliver. In this conversation. They seemed very mature and they politely got up and walked away, and that was the end of that conversation. And that was that. So basically the party ends, or I don't know, there's just like a whole bunch of like, yay, I think that was in this episode, I don't even remember anymore, the whole like, yay, we're cheering, everything's great, woohoo, I love Alexa, I love Brennan. It was blah. It was very like a la Love is Blind After the Altar season 1, where they're like celebrating a birthday and then they have things like to say about each other, and I'm just like, okay, great. I'm happy you're happy. We're moving on. Party is over. Matt and Colleen are with Matt's family eating barbecue, and the family is just talking about what the next steps are, and how at first both families didn't understand why they weren't living together, but they understand that was their decision, and that they're very happy that they're like working it out, and that Matt, was really working through the whole, like, having a problem and running away, and how he's really dealt with that, because we did see that in the season, and it was not pretty. Then we have SK looking at rings. Again, this episode,
nothing new, nothing changed, same old shit. Same old fucking shit.
Didn't mean anything, because I already know where this goes. He's just looking at rings. Oh, she deserves the best, blah, blah. Got a really nice ring, though, I will say. Then we got Alexa and Brennan walking their dogs. And, again, really random. They just need to fill time. That's what that part there was, just them being like, okay, well, what else can we add in this episode? Oh, let's put Alexa and Brennan walking their dogs, and then they're going to just randomly sit down on the floor and talk about how pretty everyone looked at the party.
Talk. Shut up, bitch. Shut the fuck up.
So that's what they did, and then he's like, oh, I didn't give you your gift. And it's basically like a little baby outfit that says Baby Lemieux or whatever their last names are, for when they have a child. At first I thought it was going to be an announcement. I was like, oh, yay, they're announcing no, they're not announcing they're expecting. It was just like for the future. She's like, oh my God, I want one now. And it was just, I didn't need it. really didn't need it. Then we move on to SK and Raven. And Raven's like, yeah, we're spending as much time as possible when he comes, when he usually comes back to Texas, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And they're at this really nice, like, hotel, and they're gonna have dinner. And my favorite is like, we have a reservation for 9:30. I would have said, not 9:30. Who the hell is eating at 9:30 p.m. for a dinner? I would be starved or getting ready for bed at 9:30. I said, 9:30. I hope they had a freaking appetizer before this. Just saying. But they go up, they're like, oh yeah, you're gonna go to this level, and she's like, oh wow, it's really high, whatever. They go up there, the elevator's open, and there's a violinist there playing a song, nothing that I know, and there's like all these flowers, there's a huge canopy, and there's a sign that says, will you marry me? And she's just like, oh my god, and she starts to get emotional, and he gets down on one knee, and he proposes, and she says yes. And I was like, oh my god, how amazing. Like, she said yes. Like, who knew all this had happened? Now, obviously, I didn't. This is where I'm like, so were they engaged at the reunion? And we didn't know? Like, I wasn't sure. Like, I wasn't sure at that point. I was like, okay, where are we in the timeline? I felt like I needed a timeline, like, little thing, being like, this was filmed after, whatever. And then Netflix finally decided to deliver something with an update. And it was Raven. Now, I don't know when this was filmed, but Raven she's self-taping in her apartment, and she's talking about the fact that SK cheated on her and that relationship is now over. And I said, okay, so this is the actual only update that's actually important. This is the only update that's important in this whole in this whole thing. This is the only one. Yeah, so she basically speaks out about it and how horrible it was because, this is someone she trusted more than anything. She trusted him with everything. And, she had never opened up to anyone before the way she had opened up to SK and how difficult this was. And I'm like, man, this relationship has really effed her over because now she opened up to this guy in a way that she never had before. She trusted this guy with everything. And then he went and cheated on her with multiple women after he had proposed to her.
That's so upsetting.
Like, she's effed up after this. Now every single guy she dates, even though she says she's open to love and she knows she's gonna find it, blah, 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 like, there's gonna be a part of her that's gonna take a lot longer now to open up to someone. If someone tells you that they wanna marry you, and then you find out that they were cheating on you the whole time.
The cheek, the nerve, the gall, the audacity, and the gumption.
How are you ever going to trust somebody after that? Or, like, it's going to be very difficult. So I really felt for Raven in this moment. I really did. I really did see the love between them, which was sad because, not sad, which was funny because when Love is Blind season 3 started, I was kind of like, this is a really weird relationship. I don't think this is going to happen. And then as the episodes progressed, I think what happened is you really did see Raven's walls start to come down, and that's when you started to see the real Raven. The person we were seeing at first was that person that was very guarded, which I didn't like that person. And when she opened up, I was like, oh, Raven's cool. Like, I like Raven. She became one of my favorite people to watch on the show. So I was really sad for her. I was really, 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 really sad for her. But yeah, that's basically it. They, Matt and Colleen are looking into homes as well. I forgot to mention that happened before. This is where I think this is like a bad idea. So they're looking into buying a home together. And she clearly says, like, oh, but what if, like, we buy a home and we have our names attached to it and everything, and then it goes bad and, it doesn't go well. And I'm like, okay, then why the hell are you looking for homes? Like, just get an apartment. Like, why are you guys making this so much more difficult than it has to be? Why are you looking into, like, we need
to buy a house, and it has to be in this area, and it has to be this expensive, and we have to think it's going to be an old home, like,
why are you making this so much more difficult for you when you can literally just rent an apartment, live together, and see how that is, and then buy a home? Don't buy a home. I don't know. I thought it was so. Maybe it was like maybe I misinterpreted it. Maybe they were just like just gonna save for the future, but they were gonna like move in together and just in an apartment, maybe, because that I think would be the smartest thing. I hope to God they do not buy a home before they like rent first and just and live together for a year or so at least. And that's just my thought. More just Nancy being like, I'm gonna find love, everything's great, whatever. But for the most part, that was the end of the episode. I kind of want to reiterate what I said at the beginning of this episode about my review and thought about this after the altar. And it's just, I think it was kind of pointless. I don't think it really showed anything of like their current life right now. I think this should have been filmed after the reunion, or not show us a reunion, or show us a reunion after the altar. I don't know. I just think the reunion kind of messed up the timing for this, because the reunion was clearly, it was a year when they filmed it, and then they filmed this too, and the timing is just off. I felt very much of like, it kind of felt like a waste. But I don't know, what did you guys think? Do you feel the same way I did? Do you feel like this after all? Do you feel like these 3 episodes were necessary? Comment down below. Let's chat about it, because I'm like really intrigued to see like what other people are thinking. Like, is it just me? Am I going crazy? I don't know. But if you like this video, guys, please give me a thumbs up, like the video. It really helps me out. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button. And guys, if you're interested in more videos like this, please click this playlist right over here. And I also did want to mention that I will be covering The Perfect Match on this channel. I don't know how I feel about the show. It's kind of giving me like kind of weird vibes. So I will be covering it on the channel, though, at least the first episode, and we will go from there. Okay? I will see you guys next time. Bye!